And it's Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery in the backyard, and I have been promising, that's a 12 by 16 inch canvas, and I've been promising myself for a while that I would try harder than I have tried before to use some yellow, or a mostly yellow ring pour. So that's what I'm going to do right now. If I can, I'm going to try and use smaller layers. I don't know if that makes any sense. But the more paint I use, the wider the bands are. So I'm going to use less is more theory and go with that. Take my tops off and leave them off. And I'm going to try and throw some of my neon pink in there because I'm a big fan of pink and orange. Go figure. I'm going to keep using the white because if I get mostly white, it won't bother me. I don't think I do nearly enough things with just white. I like the effect of having a lot of white and a little bit of color, and I never, whoa, okay. So now we're a mixed ring pour. I don't think I've done that before. Oh well. So back to the yellow proposal, because I think I just basically blew that right away. And whatever I put in here, if I put it in, really? Okay, it's time to be a lot more careful than I've been. And leave my tops off. Lift the bottle away from the container. Grab the other yellow. Whoops, what was that? That does not want to go in there. This will be interesting, I think. I think a couple different oranges next to each other would be okay with me too. I didn't put any gold in there, and I think I'm going to, because I can. The name of my book below my video on the Amazon link is Because I Can. The first 100 videos of my YouTube artworks. I think I want some of that magenta, even though I don't plan on using a lot of it. I got to be a little bit careful because I think I could overdo this pretty easily. Okay, back to the yellow. It's hard to tell if the yellow or the orange will dominate, but the orange usually dominates. Just trying to keep an eye on what I'm choosing. Do I want any more pink in there? Maybe I do. And I'm going to throw some orange right next to it. There's gold right next to that. I don't have any darks in there, so I think I'm going to go back and use that red-orange again. Because the last one in is the first one out. And what do I want that to be? I kind of want it to be the yellow. It's kind of nice that the tip on the white is a little bit plugged right now, because that means that it will come out slowly enough for me to make the many rings that I'm attempting. And even though it's supposed to be all yellow, I want this orange to be the first one out. And we'll see what happens, because I seldom do exactly what I say I'm going to do. But I am going to grab my OXO omelet turning spatula. I'm really tempted to go ahead and use black this time, if I can find it. And I think I was supposed to fill this up when I did my paint mixing earlier. So hopefully we have enough to go. Because I can't think of anything that would be better than a black background, but it also occurs to me if I do this ring pour correctly, there won't be any background showing. So we'll see how that goes. Ooh, that was close. My turntable swings, and if I leave stuff in front of it, whoops, every once in a while, something gets dumped over, and I'd prefer that didn't happen. The best thing about the black is the fact that I can tap it onto the edges fairly easily. I have usually got a thicker layer of paint, but I don't know how far I'm going to make this ring pour go. And I want some of this paint to cover the top edge, because if I can go just over the top edge, then it will begin to fall down along the sides, and I can run my fingers along it, and paint leads paint. So that will work, and is working, because it's going right over. And a little bit is better than nothing. Sorry I'm taking time. You guys can fast forward. I know some of you already have, so. I'm losing a little bit of paint down below. I'm terrified of boring you guys. I know there are certain things I don't care for. Like paint mixing is definitely one of them. So I'm going to put those two spatulas right there in the bucket. And I think I'm going to make multiple rings, but I'm going to start with one in the middle. I suspect I may wish I had used some purple in there. Now this time I'm going to stop and tip. And I'm kind of even tempted to torch. Because I use DecoArt pouring medium and Floetrol 50-50 with my paints, both of those pouring medium additives tend to be additives that help promote cells. And not everybody likes cells in their ring pours, but I happen to be one of the people who does. And slow tipping is never my forte, but I'm willing to, to attempt to do it. Way more orange than yellow so far. I am liking how that magenta looks. Kind of feel like maybe as I get more experienced with this, I'm a little better at flowing the massive paint around in a circle, and that may bode well, but I kind of hate losing that magenta. And I'm sure I have some more in my cup. You seldom ever see me do a single ring pour. Looks like all of my gold is buried. Center my paint back again and send it this other way. If it's not exactly symmetrically rotated, then you're going to get an anomalous shape in the center, but I think you should expect that anyway, because it would be very hard to always predict what a ring pour is going to look like, in my opinion anyway. Although I've done a few things with multiple ring pours I wish I could repeat, because they were awesome. Not super duper impressed so far, but I know there's hidden colors in there, and basically everything is at my disposal. If I want to use a basting brush to pull that out, or blow on it with a straw or my medical tubing, or use some chain, I can do all of those things if I want to. I said I wanted white in between every layer, and I used it in almost all of them. And it still doesn't seem to be completely dominating. We'll see what happens when I torch in a minute. I kind of want to just dribble some paint right around the edge, or go from the center. Why don't we do that? Why don't I do what I always do, which is change everything up and throw some of that magenta I like, and some gold, and maybe some more magenta, and see what happens if I pour that right in the center. So that way I know I have enough paint to go all the way to the outside edge. Which I'm not sure I did, or it would have taken me half an hour to get there. Like I said, not my thing. So that's a double ring pour. And now we have a massive paint moving, which is okay. And I'm liking the colors quite a bit better than I see. Not that we couldn't have uncovered some other cool stuff, but my MO would be to pull out the edge catcher. Seriously. I'm going to try to keep that paint from rolling over the side. Not really minding what I'm seeing. Kind of wonder if it would help my rotating the ring pour if I move myself to the other side. I'm glad I put that other ring in the center because I like what I see. I'm going to let all the paint center itself again. I always hear Gina DeLuca's voice in my head whenever I'm doing that. I'm recentering my paint because Gina told me to. But it's a good idea. Gives you much better control. I just feel like I'm counting down the minutes, and I am, because there's like 6 minutes left. I set my timer for 16 minutes out of 20 because the camera shuts off at 20. I don't have enough black and I don't have enough gold showing. And if I keep doing that, I'm going to swallow the edge. But that's okay. Part of me wants to swipe things out. The other part of me is watching the colors move around. It'd probably be a lot different on a square canvas. It just seems like something that takes an awful lot of time to me. What I want to do is put a big bunch of black along one edge and then throw the whole thing into chaos by putting an edge catcher up against it to see what will happen by throwing that puddle that I'm talking about right back in. But unless I use an edge catcher, I'm never going to know. So it's time to go ahead and bite the bullet and use an edge catcher, which is basically any plastic thing. In this case, it's a piece of packaging from a Michaels 16 by 20 pack of canvases. And in order to get that mass over on this edge, I'm going to have to let all of that flow right down there. And when it gets there and it pools, I'm going to rock my edge catcher. I'm going to let a lot of it pool. Just rock it a little bit to cover the edge. I basically want to put some heavy-duty dark purple in there and swipe it right up through just to get some serious drama going. So much for my yellow attempt. Maybe it should be yellow instead of purple. Let all that run right down. Let it flow right back in, because every time we let it flow, we create new paint agitation. And as opposed to mixing it too overly thoroughly, what it does is create cells. And I'm going to decide what I'm going to do very shortly with the rest of this. I'm kind of tempted to leave my black negative spaces. I like that yellow against the edge. And I am willing to take a chance and add some drama to all this. I know it will dry darker. Acrylics always dry darker. But I also know if I pull my paint and throw it back in, now I could do a rivulet right there. Whoops. Okay. Well, at least it went over and covered. That's fine. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's not my favorite thing right at the moment, but it's getting better. I'm going to break right out of the conventional zone and head for strange territory. Kind of makes me want to do a whole bunch more of that too. I like that mark. I want to put a black one elsewhere. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe that's the ticket. Let's see what happens. when I waggle my skewer through, yeah, those are not my colors right now. We're going to run out of time in a minute too. Where's my Princeton Art Toolkit, the spatulas? Are going to come in handy. I'm not done threatening with the dark purple or orange or anything, because I don't like what I've got and I want it to be something different. And there aren't any rules for me that say that I have to do anything other than whatever I want. So that's what's going to happen in a second. Because there's some good stuff about this and some less good stuff about it. And I'd like it to be more good stuff. Just going to drag that spatula right through there. Leave my little loopies. I think it's time to wipe that spatula off. I don't really want green in there. I'm not sure where green came from, honestly. Alright, so I've got 2 minutes left, especially if I set the timer, to tell you whatever I'm supposed to tell you. And I'm going to do my best to do something with what I've got, because I didn't like what I was getting, and I'm not one to put up with that. I don't mind that Prussian blue. I know I get very close to making some green. I can just pick up the edge of that paint and roll it right through. Having black in the background is nice, because that means if I dig down like I just did, that's what I'm going to get, some black, like that. Then maybe I can pour it off also if I want to. Alright, I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to tell you that I'm going to keep playing with this, and this may not be a video anybody ever sees, because I'm not super pleased with it yet, but there's going to be a part 2 in a second, because I'm not done playing with what I've got at all by any stretch, and I haven't gone for the dark purple yet either, and there is always chain for me. So I will see you guys. This is part 1. Let's get my paint out of the way. This is Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery saying, oh well, so far so good. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Priscilla out.